Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about 10 gifts for your young board gamer, for kids ages like 5 and under. I have 6-year-old twins, so these are all things that they enjoyed before they turned 6. And I think they could still enjoy it now as well. But this is not board games. I have lots of videos about board games specifically and games for kids of different ages. This is going to be board game adjacent things. Because like with a lot of gifts, I think theme is really important. So if you know what your kids like, they would probably be happy with like a themed Candyland. But if you're watching this video, then you probably want something more modern than Candyland or more unique. Or maybe they already have all the children's games, so you want to get something that's not a board game. So I'm trying to help you there. But once again, if you do want a board game, check out my other videos with board games. There's a lot of great publishers like Haba, Peaceable Kingdom, Game Right that make children-specific games. But one thing that's board game adjacent is puzzles, jigsaw puzzles and logic puzzles. So if you have a kid who likes jigsaw puzzles, I've actually mentioned My First Adventure series before. This is My Puzzle Adventure. So I've mentioned the My First Adventure series. This is a choose your own adventure role-playing game type book, which I recommend. I've gotten a bunch of these. One of these is a review copy, but the rest I bought. But my kids also like jigsaw puzzles, and My Puzzle Adventure is basically the same similar story to My First Adventure Finding the Dragon. It has the same characters, but it has a big 48-piece floor puzzle that the kids assemble. Once they assemble it, they need to choose one of the 3 characters and find them in the picture. And then they slip over that puzzle piece and it'll say what to find next. So then they find it. It's like a hidden picture mixed with a jigsaw puzzle, mixed with like an escape room story type thing where you're finding the puzzle pieces, flipping them over, and then finding the next one. And then you go through until you find the dragon at the end. So it has 3 different like routes, but some parts of them overlap. So it is a little bit replayable, but like more so than a normal jigsaw puzzle. Although normal jigsaw puzzles people will do over and over again. Anyway, so yeah, I really liked My Puzzle Adventure, and my kids liked it too. Alright, so on the logic puzzle side of things, I actually got this as a review copy. This is Chip Theory Kids Independent Play Collection. I talked about all of these over on Thinky Games YouTube channel, so you can check out that video. But these are logic puzzles. They have different ones that are like for different ages. I think one of them is technically for ages 3+, and then one for 4+, and one for 5+, and one for 6+. But depending on the person, like some of them might be easier than others. There's basically a Sudoku-like one with just animals instead of numbers. There's a Tangram one, and then there's 2 that are like polyomino placing shape ones. So they're like nice spatial puzzles, spatial reasoning, and logic puzzles in this set, and you can get them individually as well. They're also travel friendly. They come in magnetic tin, and the pieces are magnetic, so that makes it nice for bringing along on trips. Another logic puzzle that I got recently is Cat Crimes. My kids didn't actually play this when they were 5 because I just got it when they were 6. This is technically for ages 8+. This is a logic puzzle where you're trying to figure out which cat did the crime by putting the cats in the right place around the rug. There's different levels though. There's like beginner through expert. So my 6-year-olds were able to play the beginner mode with me reading it. And so I think like maybe 4 or 5-year-olds might be able to do it with someone reading and helping them along. Also, I think this brand Think Fun has other things like Rush Hour is by Think Fun, and they have a My First Rush Hour. Smart Games is also a brand with a lot of different toy logic puzzles with different themes and different puzzles. So check those out if you want a logic puzzle, like physical logic puzzles. Now for the reader, if your kid likes books and reading or being read to, I actually self-published this book called Board Game Day. It's illustrated by Rachel Kramer from Semi-Co-op, the comic, but it's for toddlers and it's about these animals having a board game day. So it's cute, and like if you want to get your kids into reading and they already know about board games, like they've seen your board games on the shelf, and this might get them to be excited about like, oh, I know that board game. Or if you want to get a reader into board games, then maybe they read it and be like, oh, I want to play board games now. Similarly, the ABCs of RPGs, I think this is actually called the ABCs of D&D. I won this as a prize like a long time ago, but basically an ABC book that has all these things of RPGs like Heroes and Game Master. So you read it to your kids and then they might be interested in role-playing games. And then this is Annabelle and the Sorcerer's Spoon by Dan Hughes. It's a Cora Quest story. So Cora Quest is a game that's for ages 6+. So my kids actually haven't played this like all the way through yet. It's a dungeon crawling cooperative game, but we have read through this book. This is a chapter book, but it's a short chapter book, and it's funny, and it was actually the first chapter book that my kids listened to, because they're like, oh, we don't want to read a chapter book, we want a picture book. But when they were 5 or 4, we got this and they enjoyed listening to it all the way through. This could also be if you want them to get into Core Quest when they're older, and you could read this to them now and then they'll be like, oh, when you see Core Quest, like, oh, I recognize some of this stuff. So preparing them for the future if you want. And then last up in the books, I did mention the My First Adventure ones. So like I also recommend those, but those I also recommended in the board game videos. So I'm going to also recommend these graphic novel adventures. So these, I think my kids don't like these as much as My First Adventure. They're for slightly older kids, but these are graphic novels where you kind of like choose your own adventures. So it has like a comic cartoon and then it has numbers in the image, and so you can pick where you want to go when you see that number. And they also have other things. They're all different. They have like different things that you collect and ways to keep track of points and stuff. My kids, I think, like Callie and Kiki the best out of these three. These ones are longer and they have like breaks in the middle and more things to keep track of. But this one we could finish in one sitting, so that might be why it's the best for younger kids, I think. I think these ones are probably for slightly older. But yeah, my kids have played through Callie and Kiki, I think, a lot. All right, so now on to stocking stuffers. I am going to mention one board game here because I haven't mentioned it in one of my other videos. That is Spot It. So this is actually a homemade version that I made for my kids. If you're crafty, you can do that. There are Spot It generators online. You can pick out images that your kids like and like put it on a card, or you can make it yourself, I guess. But this is a matching game where you basically have two cards and you find the match between them. So every card has a match with every other card, just one match. So like here, you're trying to find the match, which is the sword. So I made this for my kids with things that they like. There's also plenty of different themes of Spot It. So if you can find like Disney Spot It and like, or specific Disney ones. Lots of different themes of them. So you can find a theme of that they like. Or if you want to make your own, you can do that. But I think that's a good stocking stuffer instead of like the themed memory games that you would give to little kids. Because Spot It can actually be fun for older kids and adults too, but it also works well for young kids. All right, and then another stocking stuffer, which you might already know about, would be dice. My kids like playing with dice and just rolling them. Not the games themselves, just dice. So you can get like chunky dice, colorful dice, different types of dice, maybe a dice tower too, and then they can play around with that. And the last stocking stuffer is miniatures. I don't know if other kids like this, but my kids like playing around with miniatures. It's kind of like action figures or something, but they're smaller. So that could be a good stocking stuffer. If your kids like art and stuff, then miniature paint could also be a good stocking stuffer, or like craft paint. They use as miniature paint and like paintbrushes, because my kids really like painting miniatures as well. They like painting the miniatures and then playing with them. So that could be a cool stocking stuffer that's kind of board game adjacent, but instead of like playing a board game, they're just using their imagination and making their own game with it. So that was my 10 board game related gift ideas for young children in your life. If you have more gift ideas, let me know in the comments below. And once again, if you want board game gift ideas, you can check out my other videos for those. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye!